Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Ordinary Show. Um, Meg Benedicte is with us. Oh my God, finally this season. And you know what? I'm glad that we've waited until later into the fall season because there's so much awakening happening in different realms. In our reality and in our physicality and in our etheric field and what's swirling around us and what we gravitate to and what gravitates towards us. And for me, there's been an up-leveling, a changing of the guard, but also other information or intelligence that may want to dance with us that we may not want to dance with as well. And so there's this soup, this stew that we're consciously getting to play in, or maybe subconsciously getting to play in. And my belief is that it's all happening for us, or for me. It's all happening for me. And there's an even greater awakening that's happening. There is an ascension into 5D that has taken place that could be so subversive or so nuanced. And Meg is here to bring light as to what's happening now, what's trending, if you will, on the astral. And we're going to go deep into conversation with ascending into the 5D. I'm sure, Meg, you're going to take us through a process today, right?
Sure, if you'd like to, we can.
Yes, absolutely. Let's go into a process as well, and we'll see if we open up to Q&A. It's, again,
Sure.
Meg, so much to share, and it's so timely, so if there's an opportunity for Q&A, we'll go there. If you want to ask Meg your personal question, raise your hand. I want to put you on video if we can, and just play with the Zoom platform and get to know this beautiful community even better. And before we go even a little bit deeper with Meg, I want to mention we'll go into more detail on the special offer, but it's a brand new video course from Meg. So this is the latest, the greatest, and Meg's carrying like some major codes, I'll call it. Maybe not codes, but activations that are available to all of us. So again, I'm excited about all of this. And if you're new to Meg, which there's a lot of new people joining our calls now, Meg's a quantum activator. She uses this healing technique that she created and she brought consciousness to, and it shifts consciousness. It unlocks karma and removes energetic patterns so that we can actually accelerate our personal ascension. So if you haven't listened to Meg before, if this is your first time, you're in for a huge treat and perhaps a huge activation as well, because being around her, you can't help but to uplift. And Meg, with that, I want to welcome you today. Thank you for being here again.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, John. It's always such a pleasure to just get in this space with you and all of your callers. And yeah, let's we're getting towards the end of the year, and we can do a bit of a review on what's been happening and what we're starting to see coming. So yeah, let's dive in.
Let's get into the review. Where did you see 2020 starting, and how have you seen it progress until now? And perhaps what do you see coming in the next few months as well?
So when we started off in the beginning of the year, you and I actually met in Los Angeles for a conference, and we kept getting the message that 2020 is the year that the ascension gets really physical and personal, right? It's not so much going out into the astral or working with the ETs. Now we really start to bring it in the personal. And boy, has that been the case. It's for some of us, we even got COVID to even get even deeper into the physical, right? To kind of continue decomposing any of the old code or karma or consciousness that isn't really supporting us in leveling up into 5D or higher. And so what have we been seeing this year is, I made a few notes here. It's like now you're really seeing the two worlds pull apart, right? You're seeing these two worlds are really different in levels of consciousness. One is more of this kind of primal rage and aggression and divide and conquer type of reality. And then this new paradigm that's building and growing and spreading is of compassion and consideration and collaboration. This is where when we talk 5D, those are qualities of 5D. That's what we're seeing, this field spread all around the world, so we all can really move into it and live in it. And also too, there's this has been a volatile year, and so if you tune into the field, it's a volatile field, and it seems like it's getting even more extreme since January. So it's just kind of keeps, and so I would watch the field. I always as a deprogrammer and a quantum healer, I'm always watching the field, and I began to see that it was like, as the ascension gets more physical, it kind of pushes up off the surface into the field any global trauma. It's like that's all starting to come up for healing and transmutation, and this is thousands of years of global trauma, right? So this is including like past wars and genocide and racism and the Holocaust and Atlantis. Like we're going back 26,000 years, because this is the cycle. Every 26,000 years we go through this purification phase on our planet, and we're in it now. And so we've got, if you've been here a long time, you may have quite a few lives where you were in all these different civilizations, and there could still be trauma held within you that's coming up for healing and clearing. I've also been seeing, especially in client sessions, where it's like the dark forces since Atlantis that came in and invaded and took over the planet are now being moved off the planet. So we're seeing, in a way, a migration outwards from the earth plane, where these dark forces are being escorted away. And so that to me is a good sign. And also where we now have a planetary field that is majority light. Like this is way beyond 50% now, right? It's getting into the bigger numbers, the higher numbers. It's majority light consciousness. And so this, even though it may look like it's volatile and aggressive and polarized, it's because the light is getting stronger that it's kind of, we can't hide from it anymore, right? It's just putting it in our face, whatever is left of the negative programming or egoic behavior, or all of these kind of what we would consider shadow elements that's getting kind of like really in our face. And so part of what I see these two worlds that are breaking apart is the older world is this old patriarchal paradigm, and it's really starting to become repugnant and rejected by the majority, because we are getting into this majority light consciousness. And I think that's a good thing, because that's how you shift. That's how you shift the paradigm, right? We no longer tolerate it, or we're not even complicit anymore. We're just like, no more. We can't have that anymore. And then in the direct reaction to that, then is the rise of the feminine qualities that are replacing that patriarchy. And this, of course, is the compassion and also the creativity and receptivity, right? Receptivity is a feminine quality, and we didn't have that in the patriarchy. We were out there like, feudal slaves trying to, work for a buck, right? We were just wiped out, and so we weren't able to receive the inflow of abundance that's always trying to reach us. We just couldn't receive it.
Right.
So that's accelerating massively. That's really opening up. So I see those as some big signs of what's happening this year. Also, I'm hearing from light workers in sessions, or they send me articles or whatever, and it seems like they're not as focused. Well, let me step back. They're actually more developing their communication to their own soul and source now, as opposed to the ETs. And I think that's also part of the up leveling, right? We now begin to go more inner focused and communicate directly without, and that's the empowerment that's building in everyone, right? Without having to go, talk to the Arcturians or the Hathors or whoever, you're now beginning to develop really your own communication network to your higher self, to source. And also too, with this kind of decomposition and then ascension that's happening this year physically as well. So we're now crystallizing more of our DNA. We're activating more of our crystal light body, because that's the home for the soul to live in. And I'm also seeing in client sessions getting massive transmissions to activate their soul blueprint. And then that really begins to compel people into their soul purpose and their destiny. Whereas in the past years, I felt people were still kind of distracted with life and entertainment and all of that stuff, which is still there, but not as much during a pandemic. And so it's allowed people to get more serious and committed to their own soul purpose and activating that blueprint in the light body as well. I could keep going if you want, or do you want to ask?
I think it's wonderful. I do want to ask you a couple of questions, because
Yes.
a lot of different things come up for me in this conversation. First of all, what you're describing that's happening in the exterior of us, I find, is also what's happening to us as we embody. We're purging the darkness. It's being pushed out. We've taken the time to slow down. A bigger percentage of us is saying, of our aspect as individuals, is saying, no, the ego is not going to run that way. No, I recognize you and I'm taking over steering the ship. No, little one, or past lives that we're trying to interrupt the flow of progression. No, you're not running anymore. So
Right.
what we see happening galactically, cosmically, in the 3D plane around us is also happening within us.
That's right. That's right. It's like a whole reorientation happening within us because of that. And then also too, that as you mentioned, kind of all the stuff getting purged up. So people could be getting triggered this year as well. And instead of like freaking out about it, like, go, okay, no, wait, this is an opportunity for me to go in, do some self-care and heal and transmute whatever's getting triggered. So that's how I work my life. It's like, oh, all right, we got another thing popped up. Woo, all right, and there, time to work on it.
The astrology that's coming up in the next day and into all through October and November is really speaking of those triggering aspects and how we deal with them.
Yeah.
What's your awareness about that?
Well, it's we've got this Mars retro. The Mars retro is fully active right now, I think till the end of the year. And then we're going to go into Mercury retro. So it is a review time. So if you're getting triggered, that's the most opportune time to go in and heal. If you want to work with a healer or sound healer, body work, or whatever works for you. But I would not avoid it. It's up, take care of it. So in a way, this pandemic is giving us the time and being home to take care of ourselves, do our healing and care for ourselves, because once we get to the solstice at the end of the year, things are going to pop again. And so for those who are not following the astrology, we've got some big astrology showing up on December 21st. It's the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, and it's happening on the solstice. So those are, three major energies just kind of like pow in one day. And they're moving from Capricorn, which is what this whole year has been about, which is kind of the decomposition of the patriarchy, moving into Aquarius. And so this is again where we're really getting more and more into the Aquarian era. The final planet that moves into Aquarius is Pluto in 2025. So it's almost all the planets have getting their transits into Aquarius. And this is, I made a note here too. It's it has been, when these planets conjunct, it's been linked to the rise and fall of royalty and global leaders. Like, this is a big shift in the world. But on a positive note, it's really a time of opportunity and growth and good fortune. It's got Jupiter, good fortune. So think of it like we're finished, like get in the dirt, do the work, and then start a new cycle on the solstice. And also it's a time, like, think of it like it culminates a whole year of transcending the ego, because we're overcoming separateness, we're overcoming duality, and we're moving more and more into unity consciousness as our norm, everyday norm. So that's what, in a quick synopsis of how I've seen this year to be.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And with the rise and fall of leaders and kings and kingdoms, or queen and queendoms, also it's like, what do we choose to be there? It's like, what are we doing as individuals to be the leaders that we're hoping that these people were going to be for us? Or if they self-appointed, how can we rise up and direct the energy in the way that's intended for the collective good and also for the good of the individual? It's got to be both, or else it doesn't work.
Yes. And I think what we're seeing is the end of the, especially we'll say like in the spiritual wellness community, the end of the leaders that were still actually operating in the 3D capitalistic system, because that's part of what's also changing. And because that's so hierarchical, right? It's like only the 1% are actually successful and the rest of us are slogging away. So that changes even our leadership structure, right? Even in the spiritual community. So it's moving into more of collaboration and teaming, and this is all Aquarian. It's all the new 5D unit consciousness way of living and leading. So as you mentioned, and we first have to become the leaders in our own reality, our own lives. We can't give our power away to gurus or teachers or whoever, to, even to Metatron, right? We have to be our leader in our own reality, our own lives. And then I found, by bringing in and descending the soul in, that gave me the presence and the confidence and the courage to be more of a leader in my life instead of passive. It's just that we draw on that inner strength to face life and make tough decisions, right? And take action. And so we come face life.
Face life. I mean, that's really the thing, because a lot of us have been doing this going forward. Looking it's like, I'm moving forward, I think I'll be okay. And that's when we acquiesce our decision making for someone else to make the decision for us. And so I'm finding also that even when we're asking guides to tell us what to do, when we're saying, source, please guide me in this particular direction, we're asking for permission. And if we've been talking for a while on the show as we progress through the ascensionary energies, that it's a co-creative energy. Well, you're not co-creating if you're closing your eyes and you're letting someone else lead. So that part of awakening is happening within us as well.
That's key. Without that, you're going to be in doubt and insecurity and not make good decisions. So and I also found the more that I let my ego run the life, I made horrible decisions. So it's like just getting more present with your master soul, your divine higher self come in, so that then is giving you feedback, right? Yes, this actually is part of your blueprint. This matches for you. This resonates for you. This is going to be very fulfilling for you. And then I go off into that. And I find the more that we do take action on our soul plan, our soul blueprint, the more our life is fulfilled. We have more joy. We enjoy it more because we're coded and wired to do this. So the more we fulfill that, the happier we are as well.
What's been, I can't say a challenge, has been intriguing for me, because I can't describe it any other way, and it's been an adjustment, is as I've gone through an embodiment phase as well, that again, I got so accustomed to going out and to hanging out there and to bringing information and that connection that seems so strong. But as I've gone through the embodiment phase, or aspects of it, and I integrate into this reality and bring that information from within me instead of seeking it outside to come in, it's almost seemed linear. It's like hold on a second, what's happened to the way that I used to access information and how I'm with it in the world also? Because the floatiness or the airiness and a feminine aspect that was very much a part of my life has grounded into a masculine aspect that's received that feminine to be able to access an intelligence that perhaps seemed elusive.
That's fantastic. That's a great sign of the ascension working. That's fantastic. Because
So
those two aspects do have to come together inside us.
So what do you suggest that we do, or that the listeners do, as we balance that? Because it's happening to all of us in the embodiment phase. It just is.
Yeah, well, it is a grounding process, and getting a daily grounding practice is important. We can't skip it. What you're describing is bringing in kind of your divine feminine goddess with your divine masculine god, and bringing them inside you where they merge and unite and breathe out into the world, right? Radiate out into the world through you. And when we do that, so the grounding would be then, not only are you're going down and anchoring to the crystal grid, but you're also bringing more of your divine presence down into the body, where it's real, it's tangible, it's vibrating in you, it's you, it's a higher part of you.
There was an emotional aspect that came up, that there was a grieving process with it as well, because an aspect of me felt like I had to die, or something that I was used to doing to mature into what was next. So like there was a grief process, or a fear, or maybe even the loneliness phase that comes in as we go through it, because it's so new and so different. But it felt like I had lost a connection, but I knew that I hadn't, because I was still getting the intelligence, or the conversation with higher self, if you will. It was all happening from within. So it's an interesting alchemy that's occurring.
It is. It's a different process. You had to let go of the old process. And so in a way, we've gotten so used to having to go so high to connect to our higher self. But as you start descending in, you actually go in. You're not going up anymore. You're going in, because it's coming in. So then that is letting go of going so, etheric and high could be like a safety blanket. You have to let that go. And now you start coming inside where your soul is now residing. And that's where you get your juice every day. That's where you get your communication and your love vibe, that's where you get it all. That's a complete different orientation than we're used to. So it's every time you kind of level up like that, you have to keep adjusting.
Well, and does it feel more grounded because we've ascended, so we're matching that frequency much easier, like that stratosphere of energy? So the acclimation part of it doesn't have to feel so out there, like we're going to different places.
Yes. So it literally is grounding into like every fiber of your being, every atom, it's grounding into your lower mind now. It's grounding into your heart. So you are literally walking, living it now. So it is it's so important to do the grounding.
Yeah.
We can't skip that step, or we'll always be in a way disconnected through the distance of the higher etheric realms, and where we're down here in the physical. We'll always feel that, longing. But the more that you bring the soul in, you no longer feel that longing.
Yeah. And what happens also for me in that process, as that grounding's taking place more, that whatever is being filtered out, whatever is in that density that was not of that vibration, it comes up a lot faster and out a lot faster as well.
A lot faster. Yes. Because now you got this engine inside you. That's your soul presence and power and light. And so it's like bing, bing, bing. It's just popping stuff up and out now.
Bing, bing, bing. I love that. That's exactly how it happens.
You're like, oh, what just popped up?
We can laugh about Ascension people.
I
know. Oh my goodness. So what do you see as is happening to, if you will, some of these dark forces, even that were surrounding us, or that perhaps are trying to glop on as a final reach of control and manipulation?
I think because we're now in majority light, and that's because of all the light workers. We kept bringing light here, right? So this is a planet that was far off in the distance, dark space from the galactic center, and we've been coming here and bringing all this light here, and so now we have this really high light quotient on the planet, and that's making it more and more difficult for these dark forces to ground in, right? They can't now hold like they used to, and they can't control the field like they used to. And so when we, before this ascension, we would come in and we'd be born into this simulation running in the field. Think of it kind of like a movie. You know, we came into this movie program that was running in the field that was disconnection and duality, right, and ego and all this stuff. But now that that's dissolving, because there's so much light in the field, we're beginning to kind of go, whoa, wait a minute, that was all bullshit. that whole simulation wasn't real. And so what's happening, and it's a kind of a word of caution, but what's happening is now that we wake up and we're no longer in that program, that simulation, the kind of a collective global simulation that they controlled, we have to be careful, because when you wake up, you're kind of like a baby bird that's still trying to learn how to fly. You don't have, you know, you're not, your soul's not in yet. You don't have discernment. You kind of, as we were talking about, give your power away to the leaders, the teachers, or whatever, and you can get pulled right into another false simulation. So we're here as kind of, for myself, I'm a long timer doing this for 25 years. So I'm like trying to go, hello, everybody, don't fall for the other false simulations.
Yeah.
Just stay really present and focused inside, and keep doing your spiritual practice to connect with your truth, your authentic truth, not what everybody else is out there saying, your authentic truth.
Yes.
So it's a big kind of caution that I'm seeing happen right now in the spiritual wellness community, the New Age community, that people are getting pulled into some pretty crazy conspiracies and false simulations, and I would just recommend trying to be real focused inside right now.
Well, and the daily practices, again, I cannot speak enough about that. That is really, if y'all are going to devote yourself to anything over the next 3 months, devote yourself to that. It's like, lift yourself up first, then you can lift everything else around you. It's so important, and the simulations are trying to draw us in. I feel it all over the place, but if we center within ourselves and just breathe, and just, there's an attunement process that I feel happening also, and I plan on talking about this when we meet on Friday also. But this attunement, going into our emotions, those things that were triggered that we used to stop short, and allowing them to go through us without the need to immediately react, and to pause and to let it go through us. And that's when our critical thinking comes in and merges with the mind. And so that's an embodied state of being, and nurturing yourself by receiving all of the information, instead of the simulation stimulating a trigger within you, trying to control you.
That's right. So it is about really learning how to stay in your truth, and just, you know, you meditate, you ground, you breathe in light. Light's our fuel. Let's just keep breathing in the crystalline light. And then your field is just radiating so much light. So then we're also all together really kind of dissolving any last hold of dark consciousness, or dark focus, or dark shadow in power positions. All of this will, it's like kind of like a house of cards. This is all going to continue to break down, and it has to. And this is, you know, there's names for it. There's the 5D, or the New Age, or New Earth. These are, you know, the names for it. But this is the new paradigm that we're here literally to birth alive. That's why we're here.
So earlier you talked about the crystalline light body, and that we're activating that within us, and that we're embodying that as well. How do we know? How do we know when that's happening within us?
Okay, so the crystalline light body is made up of our chakra column and the geometry of the double star tetrahedron and the torus magnetic field. This is that kind of our vessel home for the soul to descend in. So as you do your practice and you keep bringing in crystalline light, you're starting to turn that all on. And so some of the things that you will begin to notice when it's activating is you'll start to feel a lot of tingles. You're going to have a lot of energy, and that's your electrical current. Literally, it's like it's light. It's an electrical current tingling through and activating more of your light body. You also might be able to notice that time is getting weird. Time is going really fast or really slow, right? It's becoming really mutable. And so what's happening is your magnetic fields are weakening and dissolving. And so you're not locked in time constraints. So I have to keep looking on my calendar. I don't know what day it is anymore. So you just lose the concept of past or future. You really start living in the now. And that's where we want to be, because that's the most creative portal to the quantum field, infinite possibilities. We want to be in the now. And then you will begin to notice that you might start to intuit more. You might start sensing. My strongest clair is clairsentience. I start to sense energy around me, movement around me. You might start getting premonitions of your friends or family or yourself, so what's happening is all those veils, those magnetic locked veils, are dissolving, and it's opening your brain centers up to higher dimensional access. This is all because your light body's turning on. And it is literally a crystalline energetic structure inside you that is turning on, lighting up, activating, so you can bring the soul in and live inside. You can work on it actively, or you can just meditate and bring the light in. That will also help it.
What are some things that we can do? Now I want to get to some Q&A here in a little bit, y'all. So we're going to open that up and we'll get into the process that Meg's going to take us through in a little while as well. What are some of the things that we can do nutritionally to support our physical body as we go through?
Yeah, good question. Okay, so part of, as you begin to breathe and live on light, you're increasing your energy frequency. And I found over time, I couldn't tolerate certain food anymore because your vibration's getting higher and higher and pure and clean. And so I find I have to live more and more on live foods. So you could become more vegetarian, or just increase more live foods in your diet and eat less of the dead food. I found that I needed to add more silica into my daily routine, because that helps the electrical current run through this crystalline light body that's turning on. So the silica helps that. It helps with also if you're feeling like muscle aches and stuff from the light coming in, the silica will help with that. But it's literally the silica is helping you metabolize more light into your body. And also too, I hydrate all the time. So I literally walk around with a glass of water is next to me all the time. You're going to hydrate. Even in the middle of the night, I'm getting up and hydrating. So drinking your clean water. You're also really become really sensitive to even what all the energy you're ingesting in. So not only diet, but now you're watching what movies you watch or what books you read or the people around you. You're finding, okay, I can't deal with this energy anymore. It's dropping me. It's dropping my vibe. It's uncomfortable now. So you become more sensitive because the crystal light body is developing that sensitivity. And I hear this a lot. People are like, well, I'm now super sensitive and I'm empathing everything, and they don't like it. Like, I have to tell them, no, this is a gift. You want to be able to use this. This is where you're now not just living on the 5 physical senses. You're now sensing and reading energy constantly, all day, all night. So learn to work with your clairsentience, your gift. But it's watching the energy you bring in. I wash my field every night. I do an energy wash, and I do a salt bath to clean just anything I may have empath during the day, you know, just kind of cleaning the field. You can use a lot of vibrational support like aromatherapy or flower essences. This is all you can do. Energy healing, anything that's raising your vibration is supporting your transformation.
That's wonderful. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate with good water. I cannot say that enough.
Yeah.
Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, those vegetables that absorb sun, vitamin D, all that, anything that is really solar based that we can ingest, I find is also good. And what helped me a lot also is amino acids. Really,
Yes.
that because they help to bond
Yep.
the
I
nutrients
take those.
of those things. It's so important. And our brain needs it too, because if we don't have those bonding mechanisms, we flush out so much of those nutrients that we really need.
And the sunlight's a good, I'm glad you brought that up. We need sunlight.
Yeah.
We are kind of becoming like a plant, you know, we're transforming into photosynthesis, basically metabolizing light. So just soak the sunlight in if you can, when you can.
And the moonlight too. The moonlight's
true. That's true.
That's true. Comes through.
Yeah.
Meg, let's go into some Q&A.
Okay.
We'll open that up. So if y'all want to ask Meg your personal question, raise your hand. And to do that, go to the bottom of the screen. You'll see the participants tab. Click on that and you'll see where you can raise your hand, and I'll try to put y'all on videos. And I'm going to put some of y'all on as panelists, and I'll ask you to wait to unmute yourself until I call your name so we can get through this a lot more easily. As a matter of fact, as people are raising their hands, Meg, let's go into the special offer because it's a brand new course. You're gonna be talking about this and so much more. We'll go through the process that Meg's gonna take us through. I'll call it an attunement for some reason. I don't know why. An attunement that she's gonna take us through a little bit later on the call. So y'all definitely gonna wanna hang out for that. This is gonna be fun. But for the special offer, April's gonna type the link in the chat box. So click on chat, watch the link in there. You can access the special offer by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg23. And Meg, if you would guide us through it.
Okay, so I'm in the process of putting together, developing a new academy as a mystery school to offer courses that utilize this healing modality. The name of the healing modality is Quantum Access. And so I've put together a new package that has several courses. These are online courses that you can work with. The first one is called Quantum Vortex Power, because this is really the tool that we're using to accelerate our ascension, and it's utilizing sacred geometry, Metatron's cube, and vortex energy and crystalline light, all these ingredients we've been talking about. You put that all together, and this course walks you through the basically the mechanics of it, and how it's opening up and activating your field where you're unlocking from time, you're unlocking from duality. You're able to then get in and start the clearing transmutation process and be able to bring more soul embodiment in. So the first course is called Quantum Vortex Power, has a video training, a handout booklet, and an activation recording that you can work with every day. We've been talking about how important grounding is, so I added in a short grounding meditation. You can start your day off real quick, connect to Mother Earth, get onto the crystalline grid, and start your day where you're present and grounded. And then the next course is called Ascending into 5D. And again, this is a course that I've developed this year that is walking you through the 3 stages that I've kind of tried to break it down into, you know, just real easy, clear understanding, because this is, you know, a rather esoteric process we're in. So broke it down into 3 stages. First is the awakening stage, as we were just talking about. Second is the transmutation stage. This is where you're getting in and clearing, you know, karma and ancestral lineage and healing core wounds and clearing patterns that are limiting you. And then that prepares you for the soul embodiment. So those are the 3 stages, and I go into greater detail on all 3 stages. And they can overlap at times as well. But this course also includes video training and a handout workbook, and then an activation that you can work with, audio activation you can work with daily again. And then I added in a video course I did that is called Alchemy of Ascension. And this is going into more detail of some of the stuff we were just talking about, really, working with sacred geometry, metabolizing crystalline light, activating your soul stargate, using Metatron's cube to do this, beginning to create 0-point balance in your field, and also learning how to expand into pure presence. This is your soul presence that you're embodying. So this is another angle of kind of another view of the process that we're all in of ascension. And then finally, there is another download meditation. Again, a quick meditation for the morning to get you started for the day. And this is activating more of the quantum access, getting the vortex up and running around you, stabilizing, getting into 0 point. So you're ready to go off and start the day where you're grounded, you're connected, and you're protected. You're also containing your field, and you're able to handle whatever comes through the day. So it's a morning ritual to get you started. And all those 5 items are part of the package for $97.
$97, 2 payment option on that. And it's a brand new course. And I have to ask you this, Meg, why? Why do you create these? Why do you share this in the way that you do? I haven't asked you that one in a long time.
Well, in a way, it's in my soul blueprint to bring this information through and share it with everybody. When I first had my awakening, I kept getting pulled back in time to a past life I had in the Egyptian mystery schools. And it was like I would go into like my own chamber there, and I would just, it's like a library, and I would just sit there and soak up all this information from that past life. And I was like, oh, this stuff is so cool. Oh, I can't wait to try this, right? But then they're like, you already know how to do this. You're here to bring this to other people. So it's like, all right, I'll be the guinea pig and I'll try it out and practice it. And just over years, that was like 25 years ago, really getting an understanding of it and be able to articulate it and put it together in ways that people can use it as easily, because this is complex. And so putting it in a way that people can use it easily and get started. And because we don't have a lot of time. This isn't where we're spending multiple lives ascending. We're doing this in matters of years. So that's why this is like a shortcut for everybody to really get in and accelerate it fast.
Yeah, this is wonderful. And again, this is the latest and greatest information that you put together for us. And again, Meg's putting her Soul Academy together, and this is just a beautiful step into that.
Yeah,
and
this is a start.
Offers so much support.
And I think people don't understand quite what 5D is yet. This is a little kind of nebulous, and so that's why I wanted to do some courses of how I started getting into 5D probably around 2006 and 7, 2008, and it was rather nebulous, and I found that I would like kind of poke in and look at, I get into that field and look around, and there may be a few other little heads poking up, and I'm like, oh dang, there's nobody in here. Okay, we need to like spread this and get more and more people into this field, and also help bring it down and ground it into the earth plane, so then it's available for everybody. And that's where we're at now, 13 years later or whatever. It's grounded, it's active, it's available. There are tons of light workers in it now, and so I felt like, I don't know, I'm goal oriented. So I felt, let me put together a course on while we're doing all this work, what are we heading for? And so the Ascending into 5D is that course.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. It's, ascending into 5D, I think the way that the spiritual community, how we all have gone through it and different, or the majority of us, I would say, have gone into it, is like a 3-year-old who wants to swim in the ocean and wants to dive in, and it looks so much fun. It's like, yes, let's go to the beach, let's dive in. And then we're in there going, holy crap, this is harder than I thought it was going to be. It's like, wait, hold on a second. I have to learn how to hold my breath. I have to learn how to float, adjust. There's a big wave that might come crashing in, but we still keep going in. We still keep going in. And maybe it's not as easy as it looked. And yes, it's fun, but maybe it's not as much fun getting to the place where where other people look like they were having so much fun, but we're doing it. And had we known from the beginning that we might be drinking a little bit of that ocean water or the cosmic water, if you will, perhaps we wouldn't have. And so I love the evolution of how the consciousness has come up for us. And the ascending into 5D isn't like all of a sudden, it's, you know, the old stuff is going to be cut off. It's learning how to navigate and swim in those waters and choosing that we get to paddle into the crystalline ocean if we choose to. Yeah.
That's a good point too. It is gradual. The stages do kind of overlap a bit, and you can find like you're maybe straddling 3D and 5D for a while, right? You get into that powerful 5D field, and then something in life pulls you back, or someone pulls you back into the lower kind of battle zone of 3D. And so it's a gradual up leveling to when you finally can hold your energy in it more and more constantly. But even though I've been doing this for years, there will be times where I can even hear my higher self go, Meg, get back up there. And it's like, I'm curious. So I'm, I don't know, I'm in Facebook and I'm looking at stuff and I'm here, get back up there. I'm like, oh, okay.
It's so good. And again, it's what you teach and the modalities that you put us through and the processes that you invite us through with the toric field of Metatron, they've helped me tremendously to acclimate also. So anybody listening, if you haven't taken Meg's courses before, I highly recommend it. And the instructions and the activation, the attunements into that new energy. And if you have, you all already know, and you're already going to purchase. And
you're pros.
So again, y'all take advantage of it. There's a 2-payment option. It's $97. It's worth its weight in gold. And you can access it. The link's in the chat box. April, I'm sure, will type it in again. And again, you can type it into your web browser as well by going to beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg23. Take it to that page. Hey, Meg, let's open to some Q&A. I can feel questions coming in. Perjanya. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize, but if you can unmute yourself, it'd be wonderful.
Okay, got me?
Yep.
Yeah, here, welcome.
Okay, hi John, hi Meg.
Hi.
Well, I so resonate with everything you're saying, of course, otherwise I wouldn't be on this call, right? So, so it just, you know what, even though I feel as though I know the truth so completely, I mean, I've been aware of the crystalline grid and knowing that I needed to be eating live foods and mostly raw foods and, you know, to build my own crystalline grid and a whole bit for so many years. I still feel as though, okay, I know all this stuff, but I don't necessarily feel as though I'm moving forward. Now, part of that is, I'm not blaming, but I have very few friends who would even entertain the notion of, you know, anything that we might talk about, that you and I might talk about. You know, I'm sure they think I'm whacked, you know. So I really only talk about these things to one friend, and even she doesn't really understand me. So, wow, that's a very bizarre feeling. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's the only thing that's keeping me from moving forward. I mean, I know I'm an empath, highly sensitive, the whole bit. But is there something that you can see that might possibly, that I might be blocking myself from moving forward?
Yes, so great question. And I do empathize with you about feeling alone in this process, because when I started, I didn't know too many people either who were into this at all. And so it was kind of a lonely path there for so many years, and really kind of went.
Now. I said, you have me now.
Oh, thank you. No, we're not alone now. We didn't have the internet when I started, folks. Okay, so I mean, I just had to kind of, and I thank God I must have had enough coding and soul presence that pushed me. I was obsessed, so I couldn't not do it. Right, it was just obsessing me. I have to do this. I have to do this, and so while I'm doing it, slowly you begin, because as you bring in more of your soul presence, you begin magnetizing in more who are like your soul tribe. You begin to meet up, even if it's on the internet, because we are located all around the planet at certain places. We're not all in the same town, and so we're strategically placed all around the world because we're anchoring this new earth hologram. But what I'm sensing as you're talking about feeling like it's like in a resistance that I'm picking up, and we all do have a certain level of ego resistance, because it's like, no, I like what's comfortable and what I'm used to, and so I deal with that at times, right, as well. Like, yeah, let's not meditate today, let's go off and get on Facebook or whatever it is. And so that is natural. That is a common inner little power struggle that we deal with when the ego is trying to deflect us away from our spiritual practice, because it's afraid the oversoul, the master soul, is going to come in and take over the life. And guess what? It is. So that resistance is real, right? It knows that master soul's coming in and is going to start directing the life and making the decisions and all that. So when I feel that it's almost, don't you feel kind of like it pushes you back, it pushes you away from doing your practice, doing your grounding or your meditation. I can literally feel that energy in me push me away from it. When that happens, if you can just kind of, it's like, hit the pause button and go, okay, I can feel that inner struggle in me, and let me just see if I can breathe through that resistance for a minute, because it's trying to lock, right? It's trying to hold, it's trying to push, and you're going to just breathe the energy into that so you can try to dissolve it. The other thing that I'm picking up, Parjanya, I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly, is
That's right.
there is also, we come into these families and we could have ancestral programming that's also opposing our expansion, right? Opposing us getting big, getting powerful, being successful. And so I'm picking some of that up in you, and I've had that as well. Like I got that from my father, and he's like, you're not going to make more money than me. You're not going to be more successful than me. It's very much the patriarchy. Like, who do you think you are, especially as a woman? So let's just breathe into that for a minute. So if anyone feels like they have some ancestral code or patterning or programming that is literally pushing you back, it's opposing your success, it's opposing your opening up and expanding and connecting to the abundant universe. And let's just breathe that up and out. Imagine like you're cutting all the cords to the ancestors, to that lineage, to that opposition, to that program. We no longer allow this. We cancel or revoke it now. We spin it out. We breathe it out. We flush it out. And you might even feel it coming up and out of the unconscious brain stem. That's the primal brain. Whew, yeah, let that out. Whew. It's coming up the spine. Imagine you're like kind of stepping out of the family web, disconnecting your energy body, your electrical system. You're stepping out of it and you're getting into your pillar of light, your divine home. All right, good. There you go. You popped. I just felt that come off you. Whew. And anything that we release and we're completing and we're done with, we send back to source light to be transmuted to light. We just let that all release out. And what this does is it begins to open your crystal light body more, so you can embody more soul power, soul presence, confidence and courage and strength and drive, right? Your motivation, so you're not in that kind of push-pull with the ego resistance. All right, good. That's another good shift. Whew. Whew. And I think of it too, like you're giving yourself permission to live your full potential. You're giving yourself permission to go as big as you need to, as you want to, as you desire. You're giving yourself permission to open to all that abundance flowing into you. Ooh, there you go. It's all in the heart. We just open and receive in our heart all that love, all that abundance. We have a friend, Deborah. She calls it green love. Breathe in that green love. There you go. And what it does is it starts to kind of diminish and shrink that ego self, that ego resistance. And it doesn't have such a big punch, right? It doesn't have such strength and resistance anymore. It's just shrinking and getting smaller and smaller as your powerful master soul presence is starting to fill inside more and direct your life. So I hope that helps, Prajana.
Jen, thank you for calling in.
I have one other question that's.
And I'd like to go to another caller, but go ahead and ask your last question. Yeah.
Okay. So my father left his body a little over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, and I feel him around me, but I cannot make out, honestly. We had a pretty rough relationship. Cannot make out whether he's here to help me or to keep me in this resistance. So bizarre, I can't tell.
I'm gonna let Meg answer that. Thank you, Prajana, for calling in.
Thank you.
I think it's a little bit of both. He feels like he's in between the worlds, and we can ask the archangels to help escort him out of the earth plane, the astral plane, and back to his star family. Okay, there we go. He's actually starting to move. He was a little hanging in both. So first we just want him to come home. So we're helping him transition with love and grace and ease, back to his loved ones, back to source connection. And then as that takes a little time, that process, but then as he gets really acclimated to the other side, then he could show up more as a spirit guide. But right now I'm hearing maybe give it a couple weeks, maybe a month, and allow him to fully transition home. And then see if you still sense his presence. And then that could be more where he's joining your spirit team, your support team as a guide.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's good, Meg. And that's a great process for us to do anytime we feel an energy around us that we're not sure about. It's whenever we go into that and work on really inviting the light in and commanding everything else out and through our toric field. And it's, if y'all again have not experienced Meg going through the toric field activations and what's going through it, it's beautiful because it does expand our light body, and that residual density moves out, it pushes out. And so again, it's so important as a daily spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice. DSP. I want you to do your DSPs every day.
Even put it in your calendar, all right? Just 15 minutes, just get it in your calendar.
And it becomes clear. You start having relationship with those energies. You notice the density, what is, what isn't, and you get back to your own authority. It's our sovereignty. It's our free will that we're calling in. Yes. And these aspects could only play with us because we're acquiescing a portion of our free will because we're looking to receive something from it, subconsciously or consciously.
True. And
if we become aware that we're no longer looking for that to make us whole or something else to make us whole, then it can't mess with you. It doesn't have anything to stick onto.
Yeah, because you're not inviting it in.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. This is so good, Meg. All right, let's go to another live caller. Let's see, who are we going to? Jen, let's go to you. I saw you cooking in the background. I was wondering what you were cooking.
Dinner.
And Jen, if you can unmute yourself, there you are. Hi.
Sorry, I'm really nervous.
I love it.
How are y'all?
Good.
Good. I'm really confused lately. have a lot going on, and I don't know. I don't like to talk to people about what's going on because I know that it's not something that they've probably experienced. So, but it's something, I don't know, just my way of thinking. It's how it's been my whole life.
I want to invite something in because Jana also had this. I don't know who I can talk to. I don't know who I can express to. There's no one in my life that will perhaps get it or think I'm weird. And I have to tell y'all, please be weird. The liberation, no, really, the liberation, the freedom that you provide to us by bringing to the surface what's so clear for you, but you're too afraid to express it, it liberates all of us. And we have to be willing to have these conversations. I'm reaching millions of people through the show every year. Meg is reaching hundreds of thousands of people, not millions of people also. Don't you think that there's a vulnerable thing that isn't vulnerable anymore? Because once you speak your truth, you breathe into an essence of who you are, and you just can't believe that you've been holding it in for so long. So I would invite you not to hold it back, and to believe that you will be met appropriately. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a safe space here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I love watching every night. Every night that y'all come on.
What's your question?
I guess, oh, there's so much. I'm very scatterbrained, but I have a lot of I guess things that just come to me. They pop in my head, and they, like, the puzzle pieces connect, and so I know what I'm like. What I do is, like, I know it's real. It's just I have a hard time trying to differentiate where I allot my time to, and if it's the right space or the right place where I need to spend my time at, if that makes any sense at all.
Scattered energy can be very difficult to handle because your focus is getting pulled in lots of different directions, and we can't really manifest in the hologram if we're scattered. So we want to start kind of getting laser focus into the hologram of our vision and our desire for it and our intention for it. And when I first started, first had my awakening, I was scattered all over the place. My mind was fragmented. I really had trouble. And so my higher self had me basically stare at a candle flame every night for 2 years. And it helped me hone in focus, also helps activate your pineal. And so maybe do some exercises that would help you hold focus. But when you feel like you're getting multiple projects or activities, or it might be overwhelming, it might be too many at once, you're going to have to start to kind of organize and prioritize. And so this is where my project management side comes in. So what I would do is I call it my punch list. I run my running list of everything I need to get done. And if I look at it all at once, I freak and get overwhelmed. So I start prioritizing and begin to work my way through it. And they can change, because maybe last week this felt very powerful, but now I'm feeling into it, looking at it, that there's more energy in it. So the energy may have popped, and okay, you're off the list, and I get to the next one. So I tune into where you feel the most energy, right? The most charge. That's where you should focus first. That's kind of where your higher self, your soul presence is telling you, bing, 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 this has a lot of energy, focus on this one. Okay. Let's look at the scatteredness in the mind, because that could also be a pattern running. So think of it like it's like, instead of feeling like you have a nice clear path you're following and you're able to laser focus, you kind of have this maze in the mind, and you hit some walls and you get just pulled off, all that. Let's get that maze out so that you kind of clear the clutter, and you have one path, and that's your soul path, and you're following with laser focus on it. Okay, so just kind of focus inside. We're going to bring in the crystalline God light. So this is crystal diamond light. And this is for anyone who feels like they have trouble with focus and scatteredness, because I really did. So here we go. We're going to just flush in. Imagine you're just flooding in there around that maze, that distraction maze. We're just going to completely surround it, flood it, and begin to cut again any cords or links or attachments to it. You're now cancel and revoke, allowing it permission to be running in your mind. And we're going to start to flesh it out, spin it out, cancel, revoke it now, throughout all time, past, present, future. Okay, here we go. It's starting to lift. And again, we lift everything that we're clearing back to source light to be transmuted to light. Ooh, it's also unplugging out of the reptilian brainstem, nervous system. Ooh, there it goes, lifting out. Ooh. And as that lifts and releases, it kind of opens up the mind now. So let's just hold, and you're like, imagine you're like turning in and you're in the center of your inner mind. And let's get that mind filled with light, especially if there's like any dark corners where you can't see anything. We're just going to flood the inner mind like a viewing room with all this crystal and diamond light. And this allows you then to be real present in the inner mind without feeling you're getting pulled in different directions. You can just hold in the center point of that inner mind. You can practice focusing on that center point in the inner mind, because that's where your soul is meeting you. That's where your higher self is connecting to you and sending you guidance and visions and projects, whatever it is. Okay, good. I felt you finally lock your focus and antenna like right into the inner mind. You finally locked in. And that's where we want to hold our focus. And it's not easy because the world's pulling us out there. But then if you do this every day, like I did with my candle flame, you just hold focus and you're training. It's like a mental muscle you haven't used very often. You're training that focus. You're holding right onto the inner mind. And that's your sacred space. And now I'm feeling like clutter lifting out. As you hold focus, ooh, all that destruction stuff, all that clutter is just rising out. Because you only really want to put your time and energy and invest yourself into what's for your highest good, what's your soul purpose, your soul focus. All right, you just updated to that. I don't know if you felt that, but it just went bing, locked right in.
You feel a little better.
Good. You also came more down to your body.
Yeah, this is amazing. I can tell y'all from my personal experience of working with Meg, it's like every time I'd have visceral experiences, I could feel her working on my chakras and my energetic body. It was a visceral sensation as we progressed through the different alchemization that was happening. And if you haven't experienced it before, you're probably experiencing a little bit of it now. And going into the program or going into sessions with Meg, I don't even know if you're doing sessions anymore.
Yeah, I am.
But
They won't let me stop.
But her program and the recordings, and again, 15 minutes, go into Metatron's cube, go into the Merkaba, into the light body, and do this, and you'll feel the difference. It's huge. Jen, play. Just play with it. Have fun with it. Let it be wrong. Let it be wrong and let it be right. Let it be both and play with it. Seriously. It's that lightness of being also that also dissipates the density. So because we tend to carry it as like, oh my God, something's happening, that it's weird, and we condemn it in certain ways or think we're going to be condemned. And either way it loses, right?
Yeah.
And so you can bring it into balance by bringing that lightness of being and know that it's, wow, this is kind of cool. I wonder what this is. And being in the innocence and the curiosity of it, you start to gain power with it. You start going, well, hold on a second, I can actually do something with this. This is leading me somewhere. And you'll find that the conversation's open and they don't become weird because they become embodied. And once they're embodied, how can they be weird? It's your personal experience.
Yeah.
I also think that more people are open to this than you think.
Yeah.
I I worked in the corporate career. I was actually working in the satellite industry in Los Angeles for 25 years as a project manager. So I'm working with men who are scientists and managers, and, you know, and I didn't share this with them, but outside of secret clearance, and they would find my website and the work I was doing as a quantum healer, and they're like, what the hell are you doing here, right? And so all of a sudden it started getting out. Oh, this girl has a side job. She's doing something totally different. And I couldn't believe how many of them were curious and wanted to learn more. And I had one day, I couldn't believe it. I had one senior scientist come up to me and he said, you know, I feel like there's this orb around you and I can't get past it. And I'm thinking, well, one, you shouldn't be trying to, but two, you're right. There is an energy boundary I set up. And so they are actually, even though he's a scientist, he was way more intuitive than I would have given him credit for at all. So it's been surprising over the years to find out who really were more open to this than I would have never imagined.
Yeah.
And it gets this for a previous caller also, Prajanya, it's like there's a fear, it's like who we're going to lose if we're really ourselves.
Oh, that's a big fear. I had that fear. That's a big fear.
And relationships that shift. Other ones blossomed, and some relationships had to shift. And that was okay also, because you can't not be yourself. That is more painful than being in the fantasy of the right relationship, because that's just fantasy and you can't really sustain that. So we have to allow it to run through us. And all I know for sure is that anywhere where those relationships shifted, what got left behind was love, regardless of the circumstance. Because when we show up in our integrity, that's always what gets imprinted. Without a doubt, I know that as my absolute truth. And I know that'll be the same for you as well. Yeah.
I also think if the fear is very strong, which it was for me, I couldn't even put my picture on my website for the first few years. It was like visceral trauma fear, right? And so I realized, I think I have some past lives where I was killed when I was doing this kind of stuff. And so I had to go back into time, back into the timelines, and lo and behold, I was murdered and burned and, all this wonderful stuff. And so I had to do trauma healing on that to be able to come out publicly with my picture and show the world who I am without literally fear of persecution and being murdered. So it took some work. So if that is strong in any of you, then I would do some healing work on that, because it's real. There was truly real trauma in these other timelines, and it's held in your cellular memory. So it does need to get brought up and healed.
Well, the special offer of the package and the recordings and the videos help with some of the amplification of that as well. In other words, amplifying it into the light.
Yes, because anytime that you're actually are spinning in the vortex, it's trying to balance you. So it will continue to push stuff up that's out of balance, and those kinds of fears are part of it. And when you're in it, so think of it like you're in this really fertile quantum space. So you can actually command, all right, I want to pull up anything that's persecution. So you can actually direct your own energetics, right, to come to the forefront while you're in that space. So if there's any type of areas you're feeling blocked in or feel you're triggered in, that's what I would do. Like, dang, this person like really pissed me off. You really triggered me. So I get into the space, get into the vortex and go, all right, bring up whatever is the root cause of this trigger. And then it would start to show. And it might not be immediate. Maybe it starts coming in the coming days. But once you set that command, your energy is going to follow, and it's going to respond and show you.
Amazing. Jen, thanks for calling in.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. All right, let's go. Well, before we go into that, y'all, again, Meg's special offer. It's a brand new program. It's April's typing the link into the chat box. She already did it. My God, you're fast, April.
She's fast.
She is. She's got me well trained. But you can access it also if you don't see it in the chat box at beyondtheordinaryshow.com/Meg23. It's $97 with a 2-payment option on there as well to make it more accessible to y'all. Again, Meg's programs are just fantastic, and they've helped me so much. over the years and working with Meg, and it's just a whole other level. Highly recommend it. We're going to get into the process in a second, and I want to remind y'all that we're going to post the replay of tonight's call up a little bit later. So if you want to listen on audio, listen to some of the processes, watch the video, whatever is better for you. There's different ways of accessing that. And again, we'll send out the replay link a little bit later this evening. So watch for that in your email. For those of y'all who are participating in the package also, I have to say this, check your spam folders, because a lot of emails go into spam lately. We're getting a lot of that, everybody is. So check spam, check your promotional folders and all that. And if not, write into us. We'll get you the package. Just sometimes we're not getting the email. So we'll communicate. Find us, find me on social media, find me through email. I promise you, we want to deliver this information to you like ASAP. Just can't wait to get it out to you. Meg, should we go into another process that's coming up? What are you feeling?
Yeah, we could do, you want to do an activation?
Let's do an activation, yeah.
Okay. I'll try to keep it short because we could go on for a long time here. So I'll try to keep it short.
You do you, Meg.
Hmm?
You do you, Meg.
All right. Okay, so we've been talking. So let's just take a couple deep breaths and come into the heart and the solar plexus. We're getting present in the center of our bodies. Just breathing in, coming down from the thinking mind and then more into your heart and feeling into the energies in the body. And we're going to use our feet chakras like magnets. So imagine that you're locking your feet right onto your grounding path of light and then onto the ley lines of the global crystalline grid. And we'll get nice and secured onto the 5D earth plane. You also can command that I now want to ground onto my ascension timeline. So we're just setting certain commands to set up where we want to ground, how we want to ground, where we want to be. And you might even feel a little shifting going on under your feet as you get onto your ascension timeline. So every morning I ground onto my ascension timeline. And then let's connect to spirit as we open up a space to work in here together. So everyone is in their own private space. We all have our own spirit team. So connecting to Mother, Father, Source, connecting to your God self and your star family, and connecting to your support team of angels and guides and shamans and protectors. So you're bringing in your team of light beings that surround you with their love and support. Also working with nature, the nature kingdoms, the devas. We're calling in the elementals of air, fire, water, earth, and ether to do the alchemy. And we're working directly with Archangel Metatron. So ask him to join us and support us. He's going to embed Metatron's cube under your feet and your grounding. And so this is made up of the outer 6 circles, inner 6 circles, and then the 13th central circle. So we'll get our feet onto the center. When we connect to it, it begins to activate it with your own energy, your own life force, your light. And those 12 circles begin to rise up as pillars of light around the body and aura. And as they rise up, they're working like tuning forks, and they vibrate with the sound of Om. So these are the phi, it's called phi harmonics. These are the harmonic tones of our universe. And we hear it with our earthly ears, our human ears, as Om. And as they're vibrating with Om, they're beginning to rotate right to left in a counterclockwise spin. So imagine if you're kind of looking from your higher self down onto your body, it's going to go right to left, spin around counterclockwise. And as this activates, it's beginning to spin up faster and faster. Ooh, and it's starting to expand your field up into the higher dimensions, opening it up. Ooh, there you go. And then we're going to go even faster spin towards the speed of light, starting to collapse the time barriers and open the field all the way out to the quantum level. There we go, all the way out. Ooh. And that lets us be able to access the energy body inside. So let's come inside with our focus into our chakra column. And embedded in Metatron's cube is the 5 platonic solids. So we have the double star tetrahedron Merkaba begin to rise from the feet, from Metatron's cube up into your body, into your field. Here it comes up. This is the geometry of the torus, the Merkaba, and looks like the Star of David, double star tetrahedron, upward facing and downward facing, and where they overlap is right there at your heart center. So you can get a kind of a sense of where it's opening. The heart is your engine to run your Merkaba torus. And so we're going to work with that in a minute. Just wanted to get that up and open in the field. Now let's work with our chakra column. This is our channel up to the higher self. So let's go down to the base root chakra, pelvic floor, and we're going to start another anti-clockwise spiral. From the root, we're going up the channel. So you're going up all your chakras. We're spinning and clearing any density or locked trauma or memory in the chakra. So as you're spiraling, you're clearing your channel, opening, 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 all the way up the physical body, up to the top where we connect up with our higher self. It's above your crown, about 6 feet above your crown. You go up, ooh, all the way up. Ooh, there we go. And as we get up into the higher realms, we're connecting to our God self, our higher self, our soul presence. Our soul is made of light and sound. And so we're going to start now reversing and coming back down the channel, bringing our soul energy back down with us in a stream of our soul light and our sound waves, our tones, our frequencies. So we're a clear and open channel, breathing down and in. Soul light, soul frequencies, soul essence, soul consciousness, and just let it stream down and in, down the crown, into all your chakras, filling in. Woo, there we go, all the way down to the root. Whew. And as we're filling with soul light, soul presence, let's go to the heart, center of your Merkaba torus. And imagine that heart is opening and filling with soul love, soul light, soul essence, soul presence. It's vibrating, it's radiating with soul light, soul vibrations. And it may just start to feel or appear in your mind's eye like a big sun, radiating soul light into the body and aura. Ooh, there it goes, open, expanding, filling, radiating. It can even go beyond the edge of the body, like a big sun in your core. Ooh. And this is the light that runs your Merkaba torus. So let's now also, as we just got the heart chakra, filling with soul light, let's also direct our soul light, our soul presence into our heart crystal, the center of our Merkaba, still in the same area. We're working with our crystal light body now. So there we go, everyone moving their soul light frequencies into the heart crystal, and it's pretty big. Let it fill. Oh, crystals are record keepers, taking in your soul light frequencies, your soul essence, soul consciousness. Ooh, now it's beginning to activate and vibrate. Breathe into it. Keep filling it with soul light presence, soul frequencies. Ooh, you may even sense like your heart crystal is getting bigger. It's expanding and vibrating, and it's starting to communicate with the double star tetrahedron Merkaba, and it's starting to activate that part of your crystal light body. It's also starting to radiate your soul light frequencies into your soul blueprint, which is embedded in your light body template. So think of it like an architectural blueprint. Your soul blueprint is coded and has instructions and plans for your ascension. So we're going to flood the soul blueprint that's in your light body to activate more of your soul plan, soul code, soul instructions. Woo, and there we go. It might even feel like a computer motherboard lighting up. You're turning on more sections of your blueprint to assist you going forward on your ascension timeline. Ooh, just breathe that in for a minute. Your own soul light turning on your soul blueprint. And I feel that tingle everywhere. And it's just like little crystal seeds lighting up inside the blueprint and turning on, activating more of your soul code. This is your multidimensional code. More of your soul awareness and understanding and knowledge. Oof. And more of your soul light body activating, your crystal light body. Now, as that is all turning on, it's beginning to activate more of your torus field. This is your magnetic fields, beginning to rotate, comes in and rotates out, comes in and rotates out. So you are actively beginning to create this powerful force field that is fueled by your inner soul presence, soul light, heart crystal, and your Merkaba. And as this all begins to open up and activate and rotate and feed you more life force, let's use this powerful momentum, and we can do a quick clearing of anything that you've been encountering in your life recently, anywhere you're feeling blocked, anywhere you're feeling frustrated, anywhere you're feeling disconnected. It could be that you're feeling emotional trauma coming up from past childhood or past life. So I'll give everybody a minute to just lock onto what you've been dealing with just in the last weeks or month. And this channel of ours goes all the way up to the higher self, and it also opens up to the abundant universe. It opens up to source. And so let's just start bringing down that channel, the crystal diamond light of source flowing down through the crown like you're in a shower of it, just letting it wash through you, down the body. And we're going to use the momentum of the vortex spin and the light flashing through us to command up and out any blockages or barriers or resistance, any ancestral patterning limiting you, anywhere you're feeling frustrated, anywhere you're having emotional trauma, rise up and let's lift it into the light and spin it out of the field, out back to source now, to be transmuted to light. We spin it out, we release it out, we exhale it out, we let it all go. Just blessing it and returning it to source creator. There's another release. Because we are opening and activating our crystal light body, and we're bringing in our soul power, our soul presence, our soul light to live fully our ascension timeline. So we're releasing any energetics that do not support our personal ascension, do not support living in 5D. All right, here comes some more. We release it out. Any fear, any doubts, any resistance, back to source. There we go. Transmuting it to light. And everywhere that we're clearing inside us, we're filling in with more of our divine soul presence, soul light, soul consciousness, soul truth. And we get more and more empowered, more embodied, and more living as the divine master soul that we are. And we set that into motion now. And so it is. And that completes our activation for today.
Wow. Every time we do this, like something new awakens. There's a new flow. I feel the activation, but I also feel my capacity to be that.
Yeah.
You know, the replay, we're going to run it all week long. Come back and listen to this. So magnificent. And of course, the special offer, it's this on steroids, I'm sure. There's so much. anything with Meg. I feel it so viscerally, Meg. Thank you
Oh,
so much for bringing this in. This is so
my
beautiful.
pleasure.
Yeah. And all of y'all, thank you for being on the call, for bringing in and bringing up what's flowing through all of us. If it's going through you, it's going through us. I promise you. So you sharing it, you bringing it up to the surface, allowing that flow to purify all of us. It's such a gift. So thank you. Just blessings and just namaste to each and every one of you. Meg, thank you.
All right. Always a pleasure, John. Thank you, everyone. Till next time. Bye-bye.
Till next time. Bye, guys.